In this section, we're going to work with sentiment analysis with the movie review dataset. So the movie review dataset is slightly more complicated than the spam classification or spam filtering tasks that we handled in the last section. Instead of having two classes that we need to classify any piece of text into, we actually need to classify into three different classes, which is positive sentiment, negative sentiment, and neutral. Not only that, usually the indicators of whether something is spam or not spam is fairly direct. Terms like lucky, winning, rewards, or anything that is trying to fish for money or information usually points to something being spam, whereas sentiment is slightly less straightforward and harder to determine with just words alone. So sometimes you would need to think about phrases, or you need to think about what happens if something is negated. So when somebody says not happy, you would need to capture the fact that not happy contributes to a negative sentiment on the piece of text. Whereas if you use very simple techniques and you separate the words not and happy, or sometimes even remove the word not, then it gets incrementally harder, because sometimes the signals that determine sentimentality, sentiment's polarity, is less straightforward. So in this section, we're going to take a look at number 1, understanding the origin and the features of the movie review datasets. Number 2, loading and cleaning the review data. Number 3, pre-processing the datasets to remove unwanted words and characters. Number 4, creating TF-IDF weighted natural language features. And number 5, how we can do basic sentiment analysis with logistic regression. In this video, we're going to understand the origin and the features of the movie review dataset. In this video, we're going to take a look at number 1, the importance of understanding the data source. Number 2, how was the movie review dataset collected? Let's go in and take a look. So sentiment polarity is more of the technical term or the academic term to describe the task of finding out whether a piece of text contains positive or negative sentiment. Related to that, there is the subjective rating task, so whether something is 2.5 stars or 4 stars or 5 stars. Around this task, there's a lot of open source data. The one we're looking at is a very old but very classical data set from this researcher called Bo Pang in Cornell. And there's actually a long list, over 100 papers referencing this movie review data, which is why I picked this, because this allows us to A, work on something that is easy to obtain, and also if we get stuck, or if we want to learn how other people are doing this, there's a lot to learn from a lot of resources online. So to come up with this page, all you need to do is to search movie review data on Google, and this will come up. I'm showing you this because I want to stress how important it is for us to always think about how data is collected. A lot of the times, what machine learning is trying to do is to approximate or model a particular part of an underlying natural phenomenon. So one of the natural phenomena we're modeling here is how people use words to express their sentiments. So that's the thing that we're modeling. So obviously understanding how the data is collected around where people express the sentiment is extremely relevant. So in sentiment polarity, in the website, you can see that there is a file you can download, which is what we're going to do in this course, that contains the data sets processed and primed for natural language processing. There is also a chance for you to download the unprocessed HTML files, and I do encourage you to try to do that, especially if you can go from the unprocessed files to the processed one. That would really help you understand how pre-processing is done in natural language processing. If we take a look at the README, we know that inside this folder there is 2,000 processed downcased text files, so we don't need to put it into lowercase. And also within the folder there is a pause folder for positive examples and neg folder for negative examples. And we can also see that each of the files are named in a particular convention. So one of the examples of how we can improve our machine learning model is to actually leverage this information as well. So one of the key things that you should always remember as a data scientist is to always find new ways to incorporate information into your model, and the file name should also be within your purview of things that you put into your model. So here it also describes how the text is modified. So for example, it's using a particular sentence boundary detector, so you can use this to reproduce the results. And you can also, by seeing what information was removed, you can build better features that feed into your model. So that's all there is to it. We looked at where the data source comes from and sentiment, polarity, prediction task in general. We also took a look at the README file for this dataset and understood how the movie review dataset was collected. So in the next few videos, we're going to build on this understanding to build a good model around this task.